What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy today, MSTR. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Here we are on the 4th of April, Friday, right now, after hours at 290, closing the week, closing the day at 293. That's a decent bit of volume there. I think that's the most volume we've seen, you guys, since since March 10th at these lows here. Finding a nice higher low relative to this. This might save you of going lower. We hit that 265 area. I don't know if we're going to go below 250, you guys. It depends on a lot. You know, I'm a bit skeptical to see if Bitcoin does go below these lows still. I'm holding to that. I think that Bitcoin will, but we're at a point where we really could, over the next couple of days, over the weekend, validate this as a low. It's very possible. If Bitcoin has a boring weekend and it opens up next week, you know, we'll see how it goes. But I think if we don't make this move by like April 10th, April 15th, somewhere in that area, might be time to accept that this is in fact a higher low. From a low to a high here, you've tipped your golden ratio, 269 to 261, found support right there. You are, of course, finding resistance at the 382, closing right here. You're down a little bit after hours. That's fine. That's pretty normal. If you come back down and you find support, I don't know why this is doing this. Let me redo this here. Hold on. If you find some support at the 0.5 or the 618 on this next attempt down, and then you come back up to the 382 area or more, you likely will validate this as a low and continue on upwards, breaking out of this downtrend that you've been in since November of 2024. That'd be quite the feat, you guys. We might be on our way to $1,000 earlier than anticipated. Now, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I still am cautiously bearish to the downside with Bitcoin. I still do believe that Bitcoin will see a $74,000 to $71,000 price, $70,000 price. Doesn't mean that it will. And today, over the last 24 hours, I've probably turned more bullish than I really have been throughout this whole time here. It'll be interesting to see, but the main reason for that is that the fact the stock market dove so much. It dropped 6%. The SPX dropping 6% like this, and Bitcoin having a green day. I don't think I've ever seen that, man. Now, SPX drops 6%, Bitcoin drops 10% or more. You know, that's what happens. I don't know why. You know, a lot of people are saying Bitcoin's decoupling from the stock markets, and maybe that's happening. That seems a bit not far-fetched. I think that's something we're anticipating to happen at some point, you know, and crypto alike might decouple from the traditional markets, maybe. But that hasn't happened yet. This could be the beginning of it, or perhaps Bitcoin is just at a low point here. Perhaps Bitcoin, for once, is actually, and crypto maybe, is front-running the stock markets. We have seen, after all, an overall drop in BTC, a 29, almost a 30% drop here. The SPX has dropped an overall 17%. Maybe Bitcoin just had it was a little bit ahead of the schedule than the SPX was, than the stock market was, the traditional markets. Let's see, was this? I mean, that was going back, to February of this year, right? Bitcoin has been going down since January 20th of this year, so it literally had a whole month ahead of it. Maybe we're just finding support beforehand. Maybe we're a leading indicator in this kind of aspect. I don't know. But if Bitcoin's moving up, if Bitcoin has found its low, and we don't know that yet, there's nothing to validate that, right? We'd have to see Bitcoin close above about 86,000 on a daily basis to get excited. Close above 88K to really validate this as a low. And then if you are bearish beyond all belief and you need some real serious validation, I'd say 96.5K is that ultimate level where you're in straight denial if we don't go, if you're still bearish and we're closing above that line on a daily basis, let alone a weekly basis or otherwise. So if anybody doesn't understand what I was just saying over the last minute there, basically what I'm saying is I'm cautiously bearish. I'm more optimistic than I have been that we're not going to go lower than these lows, or at least for Bitcoin not going lower than those lows. We might not go below 250. This really could have been the low. And from a low to high perspective, bouncing in the golden ratio like that's not a bad look, man. That's really not a bad look at all. Decent volume here on the daily. We look at the weekly time frame, decent volume, about average volume there as well. It just depends, I suppose, what we do next week, and I think it also hinges on what Bitcoin does over the weekend. So with the next weekly game plan on Sunday, we'll have a little bit of a better idea, I'm assuming. But this really could be the beginning of something beautiful here for MSTR, for strategy. I call it MicroStrategy because that's just what I've known it as, but strategy. I think MicroStrategy sounds so much cooler. If you're going to change it, just change it to Strategy B or B strategy, Bitcoin strategy, whatever. Everybody knows it's what you're about anyways. High to low high to low here, getting above the 382, coming down and finding support at the 236 like this, that's not a bad thing, man. That's not a bad thing at all. Continuing upwards from here. It's oftentimes you do go from the 382 to the 236 and then up to the golden ratio. So if this is the low, we should, in theory, next week start to see some progress to this 392, 416 area, yeah? Something like that, potentially by the end of the week. If not, at least by the end of the week, we would see some progress above this high, I would think, and then going into next week, we'd be there. By the end of the month, going into May, June, we could be at all-time highs. Sorry, going into May, not going into June. Going into June, we'll be at higher prices. Going into May, or maybe even the end of this month of April, we could be at all-time highs around there or well above there. I am anticipating ultimately that this next journey to the upside, regardless if we have lower to go first or if we're moving up now, however it looks, I have a theory that we're going to see prices that are above $919 here at this 1618 right there. If we do see prices above there, the next fib area would be at about $1,155 to $1,300, something in this zone here. And that's kind of the expectation, man. MicroStrategy and GameStop, I'm pretty sure have put billions. Has GameStop? Have we seen that? Let's see. Hold on. What is it? Has GameStop invested in BTC yet? I don't know, man. I don't keep up with the news. I know that they're talking about it, but have they done it? Let's just see. As of April 4th, nope, they have not yet invested. Taking concrete steps toward doing so. On March 25th, well, man, they're taking their sweet time. It's going to move up without them. They're going to FOMO in. Has the green light and the cash, but hasn't verifiably invested in Bitcoin yet as of April 4th. Yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes, but you've got two big players here coming in, MicroStrategy and GameStop, putting in billions potentially at these areas. Just because GameStop hasn't verified it yet, doesn't mean that they haven't done it, but they very well could have done it, or at least still have capital on the side planning to go into this stuff. I think that with that combination of some behemoths like that buying up Bitcoin, and then you have institutional investors outside of them, and countries, literally nations, buying up Bitcoin at these prices. Retail investors are panic selling, thinking that the bear market's in effect. We're probably going to see a rapid recovery here, and I think that we will see prices that are not just at $919, but well above that, at $1,100 to $1,300, something in this area here. Okay, if we go back on a weekly basis, we take this same high to low here. We've got let's just put this area right there, 1886. That's the minimum. That's kind of the maximum expectation, right? You could go further. We could go further. I'm just, we have made rationale out of targets that are above $1,600. $1,700 is a possibility. It really is. But I don't know if we see that by the end of May or June. It's possible, but we'll see. We take this high to low here. You've got your 3,618 golden ratio all the way up in that zone there. I would think that if we do pass above the 3,113, that's the next likely area that we'd stop at. So that lines up there as well. We take our all-time high from our last cycle in 2021 February to the cycle low in May of 2022, high to low there. Our 1,886,200 level does encapsulate this zone as well, pretty well. 994 to about 1,300 there. Basically, the 200's at the same level, but the 1,886 is a little bit below there. I do think we'll crush $1,000. I do think that we'll smash through that. I don't think any of these other prices are going to be relevant for helping us out here. Weekly RSI, looking at this, you do have lower lows in the RSI, lower lows bouncing right off the 40. Not a bad look with higher lows. That is hidden bullish divergence. That's an indication that you were overbought. Right, you've been showing strength, and you've cooled off so much that you're literally at lower readings in your RSI than you were before, but you've cooled off so much, and yet you're maintaining higher lows. That's a bullish thing, right? You're getting more bearish readings with more bullish results. That's a bullish thing, you guys. Likely implies continuation of the trend, which I don't know if you can tell, but the trend is a nice, pronounced uptrend, right? The next target area, I'm going to say it one more time, man. We're at 293. The next target area is over $1,000, over $1,100. It really is. And the weekly RSI, to me, it looks phenomenal. Multiple fibs on all of these significant kind of areas lining up at that area as well. As long as we get above like $900, then that's fine. It's possible we could stop below $900, but I don't think that we will. The reason why is not because I have an extreme bias toward MicroStrategy. No, it's because I believe that we're going to see a stronger move than what we've seen throughout this whole cycle so far. If we take this, if I can just get that low on there, come on, man, damn. Get that low. There we go. Low to high there. 355% from this low to high. That is a 377% move. If we were to see from a low to a high, and I don't know if the move has began yet or not, maybe it begins at this point, but let's put it at this low here, 377%. We're going to see a bigger move than that, right? That's the expectation. That takes us above $1,000. If we were to stop at $800, which again I don't expect, but even at 900 or below, that's a smaller move than the last two moves. And as bull cycles progress, you get bigger moves, not smaller moves. Generally, you end your cycle with the big moves. You start your cycle with the small moves, right? Look at the cycle starting off with these smaller moves, coming out toward the end here with bigger moves. That's just how it is. I don't think this will be the end of cycle targets. I don't think that we're stopping at $1,100 to $1,300. I just think we'll stop there momentarily. The end of the cycle targets for MicroStrategy are multiple thousands of dollars, potentially as high as $5,000, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And in fact, we could talk about that real quick. From a high to a low here, high to a low here. End of cycle destination at the moment would be something above $2,400. So 25, 3,000, something like that could happen. Maybe we go all the way up to the 2618 and we're worth about 5,300. That could happen, but that's about the maximum expectation I could see for MSTR hitting this cycle. I'm leaning more to that 3K area personally. We're at 300 now, so that's about a 10x move from the current price, let alone the after hours price. If we're looking at, let's just see here. I can't delete that. Well, let's see. What was I going to do? Right. MSTR. I'm curious to see. Go to view all expiries. Expirations. Let's see here. We still got a lot of calls put on there, man. We still got a lot of calls put on there. I don't know what's going on, but it looks like max pain is going to be ignored potentially. Maybe we do get that kind of and it just goes right to that point every time. Maybe we still have this close, right? Or this lower low. We still do have a possibility for that. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but we still haven't seen validation yet. I'm pretty excited on Bitcoin right now. I am optimistic, but still cautiously bearish again. I want to reinstate that. We're forward thinking here for what we're going to see over the multiple months to come, right? I don't think that this is going to be a short-lived adventure. We absolutely can go to the downside first and then recover. Targets as low as $200 are still on the table. Targets below $250 are still on the table. We're at $293 now. It is still possible that we can go lower, but beyond that, no matter what happens, lower first, higher first, whatever, you guys know the target area, right, that we're going to. But it does hinge on Bitcoin. It really does hinge on Bitcoin, and that's kind of the one drawback that I have. It's possible MicroStrategy could decouple from Bitcoin a little bit and start moving up beforehand, but I don't really know if that's going to happen. I think most likely if Bitcoin drops, if it were to drop and see this dump that I'm somewhat expecting to happen at this point, that's a 13-14% drop. MSTR would likely drop somewhere around 20%, so that would definitely take it down a solid bit. Just something that we should be prepared for. But there is the possibility, again, where Bitcoin could, over the weekend, dump, and then before MicroStrategy strategy opens on Monday, Bitcoin could recover a little bit, mitigating the amount of downside that we see in MSTR. Or it's completely possible that I'm wrong. As crazy as that might sound, it's completely possible that I'm wrong, and we actually might just see this thing move up. That really could be the low. This really could be the higher low. It is after all, at a nice area, and we've had every opportunity to go down. It makes a lot of sense that we should go down, and we just haven't done it. We had a bullish engulfing candle here, filled the gap, had a nice wick to the upside with some decent volume coming in. Daily RSI looks decent, not bad. Weekly RSI looks really good, honestly. And Bitcoin's in a position right now, and crypto as a whole, MicroStrategy by default, is in a position where it really could start to decouple from the stock market, which I never thought I would say, but man, it's kind of looking like that. But after one day, I'm not completely convinced. We'll see how it goes, right? We'll see how next week goes as well. But I am a bit surprised, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna end the video there. I don't know if I have anything else that I want to say. Monthly RSI looks phenomenal. To be fair, the last time that you were right here at this level, you bounced and went all the way to your overbought zone. That is what sent you to these all-time highs. The time before that, you bounced right here. That's what sent you to these all-time highs. Regardless if we move down over the days, over the weeks to come, I would expect that April does close green. I would expect that going into May and June, we have a merry time going upwards, and maybe we even continue growing past that. I'm not expecting that once we consolidate, once we find resistance at $1,000, $1,300, I'm not expecting that we will consolidate for half a year like we've done here, or half a year like we've done here. I think it'll be a shorter phase of consolidation, so we'll see how all that goes, but Ultimately, you know where the destination is, $3,000, maybe higher, something around that area. We're at 293 now. That destination will be achieved by the end of this year, I think sometime in Q3. Likely, we will top off before Bitcoin. I'm anticipating Bitcoin tops off in early/mid Q4, and that would imply that MicroStrategy could top off in probably late Q3, if not mid Q3. Might happen. So one or two big moves coming for the rest of this cycle. I think it'll be two, right? One here, consolidate a little bit, and then one there, and then boom, you're done, right? That's kind of the expectation, but we'll see how it goes. I got nothing else for you. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see how Bitcoin performs on the weekend, and I'll hit you with a MicroStrategy strategy game plan on Sunday. All right, take care. Bye-bye.